Hey, this is Wes from PC Gamer, and I'm here with Alex from Max PC. Alex, hey. We got to do something pretty cool last week. We went to Oculus Connect down in LA, and we got to put on the Oculus Rift headset and play a whole bunch of games. This was your first Connect. What did you think of it?
I thought it was really interesting because, first of all, it's not a consumer event. Like, it's not E3.
It's a dev conference, right?
It's a dev conference. So it's a bunch of people who are there who are programmers who are actively developing things for the Rift, for this platform. So it's really for them, and we just kind of get to look on and kind of see what they're working on. And I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting because I went last year, and I definitely noticed some differences this year, even though it was at the same venue. It was a lot bigger, it was better organized, which was nice for us. But it was also not about hardware nearly to the extent that pretty much every Oculus event, I feel like, has been up to this point. It's always, oh, they have a new headset they have to show off, or they have the new touch controller. And they had that stuff here, of course, but they were really shifting focus to talk about content, to talk about games and movies and other stuff you do in VR.
Yeah, I noticed that all the talks I went to, even the keynote, I mean, they did talk about games, they did talk about gaming and as the gaming platform and different titles they had, like Minecraft was a really big announcement they had. But I noticed that a lot of their talks were really about content, and we're talking consumer content like Netflix, Twitch, 360 video was announced there. So you have all these other things that are happening that would get my mom to use VR, not necessarily for all the gamers, but for the mass market.
So we each got to play some games. We've played on the Gear VR, which is like, this is the new version of Gear VR they just put out. It's not exactly in our wheelhouse because it's mobile focused and we're very much about the PC platform. But I think you and I were both surprised really by how good Gear VR is for being this thing that you just strap a cell phone into.
I was thinking, oh, this might be like a fancy Google Cardboard, but it was actually much, much better. Granted, it was running on a Galaxy S6 phone, so it is a high-end phone with a really nice display and all that in it. The fact that you get a really good VR experience without the overhead of having to have a high-end PC, there's really no wires to speak of that are coming out of it. It's just you and the headset and your headphones. And one of the demos we were watching Twitch with with a couple other people in the room, and that
it was kind of a cool social thing, right?
Yeah.
You could talk to the other person, you could look over and see their avatar, kind of wave at you and stuff, and watch a game stream together. I don't know if I'd want to do that for an entire weekend of tournaments, but it was pretty fun. So I think my favorite thing at the event was the touch, playing with Oculus Touch with their controller. I did a few demos. Probably my favorite was Job Simulator, which is really fun, like very intentionally absurdist kind of faux simulation of an office job, and it's set in the future where like robots have kind of taken over, and so this is like a historical preservation of what it was like to have a cubicle job. And you just do goofy stuff. It's a good sense of humor, and really felt like anything that used the touch to just let you interact with objects and like not even have to press buttons to do things, but just to touch something and have it react the way a thing in the real world does. Like, it really quickly gets into your brain, as your brain isn't tricked into thinking that you're really in this place, but the interaction feels 100% completely genuine.
For the touch demos, I played Bullet Train, which was one of the things that they were really, it was kind of a AAA title.
Yeah, Epic's new demo, shooter demo, yeah.
Yeah, and it was actually kind of interesting because one of the hard things about doing a first-person shooter in VR is that you're stationary. You don't get to walk around the room. You can't walk up and down stairs. It's just very strange. So what they did instead is they have you teleport. So you point at a place where you want to go, and you can teleport there, and then you can pick up weapons. And during the demo, also, you were able to catch bullets in the air and throw them back at people.
That was my favorite part. That was really cool.
That's really cool. And to beat the boss, you have to catch rockets and throw the rockets back at the boss, which is kind of interesting. But you find yourself, chucking grenades and, picking up a shotgun and actually holding it like a shotgun and having to pump the shotgun, which I thought was a nice touch. It was pretty cool.
I think we played a couple other touch demos. We both used Medium, which is Oculus's new kind of, calling it a paint tool I think doesn't do it the credit it deserves. It's more about sculpting. And I was able to do some pretty surprisingly good sculptures just in like the 5-10 minutes that I was using it. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I was actually able to do some interesting things during the demo. The other person with me was actually an engineer. I don't know about when you did the demo, but it was actually an Oculus engineer who actually worked on this program. So the interesting thing to me was that you had two people, so you could see their avatar, they can interact with the sculpture or take admin control. But the fact that you can be there and sculpt with someone else in the room, to me was really powerful. That's kind of like, you know, you can give a VR art class, a 3D art class, which was, to me, was really interesting. And I actually asked the person that, you know, what can we do with this stuff? Can we actually use these models? And said, yeah, we can 3D print them, we can use them in games, we can use them in film. So it's not just fun, but it's actually a useful tool.
I think Medium did show off one of the limitations of Oculus right now, which is when they ship the Oculus Touch, they're going to include a second sensor with it, which will give you a broader sensor range. But using just one in the demo, it was definitely possible to kind of reach down too far or reach out too far and get out of the range of that sensor, which is one thing that Oculus is going to really struggle with, I think, compared to Steam VR with the Lighthouse sensors that can kind of blanket a small room. So I think that's something that Oculus is going to have to improve on.
I think that the theme of this conference, I think, was content, content, content. The fact that, you know, Netflix is coming to Gear VR, you have Twitch on Gear VR, that ILM had a talk there talking about VR, how they're going to use it in production. So it's not just content in terms of consumption, but also on the production side, you know, using tools like Medium, using tools like the ILM tools that they've been experimenting with. We're going to see a lot more of that, I think.
I agree, and we know that the headset's coming out sometime in the first 3 months of 2016. We know it's probably going to cost $300 to $400. That's kind of all the range we have right now. We're obviously going to be covering both the hardware and the software more as we come up to launch, so you can check that out at Maximum PC or PC Gamer. And until then, we will just keep on playing around with what we got here.
Yep. Thanks for watching.